Welcome to episode 161 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, bringing you a fun show tonight. We'll be recapping the U.S. Open, which played last week and over the weekend. And we'll get into a little Phillies talk. Don't know how deep because we probably next week will do a mid-season show where we'll get more into scenarios, trades, but we'll do some overall. We haven't really talked about the Phillies recently. Let me go around the horn. I got Jason Sayeta with.
Hey, Tom, what's going on?
Jason, how are you? And I got Jimmy the Chalk.
Thomas.
So we got the normal crew tonight to recap, like I said, the U.S. Open. But before we start, tonight's episode is brought to you by Giovannina's Pizza. You tried the rest? I'll try the best. All right, let's jump into it. U.S. Open recap. So for people that watch or people that didn't watch, Spawn wound up pulling ahead at the end, last two holes, shot one under, which was right around the over-under. He was the only guy under par. It was looking like it was going to be even at best, and he kind of nailed a putt on 18, which we'll get into. So he did shoot under par. The course was just comical how hard it was. It was insane how hard it was. We were there. We went to the Thursday first round. Very hot. It's pretty much the biggest takeaway that I got from it. It was very hot. But we'll get into a lot. I'll give everybody here a chance to kind of go through it. But it was Spawn who won, McIntyre finished second, Hovland third, and so on and so on. Rahm and Scheffler kind of T7. So, didn't really look like they played all that well, and they're still top 10. A couple of the big names, though, did either miss the cut or fell way out of the top 10. Jason, thoughts on the U.S. Open?
Yeah, so like you said, we trekked, I guess, over, you could say, west to Pittsburgh. I guess we were smack dab in the middle of an episode of The Wire for most of the week, I guess you could say. So that was interesting. But we tried Permantes, which I thought was good. Like, I wouldn't go crazy over it. I thought it was good. And then
See, I liked it. I like that.
I didn't like it, but I'm not like dancing in the street over it. It was good.
But it's like that type of, you have to like that type of set. It's, you know what I mean?
I liked it. I just, it was good. Like, I don't know if it was great, but it was good. Went to Pirates game, which was interesting to see that stadium. Beautiful stadium. Great location, I thought. Right on the water. That's really cool. So they have a nice little setup there. And then we made it to the U.S. Open, like you said, on Thursday. Like you said, incredibly hot. No trees on the course, no relief. We got there, about 8:30? We got on the course. And our plan was to stay till like 5, 6 o'clock. We didn't make it.
We made it till
2:30.
Yeah. I mean, we
got 2:30, and then we. I thought a heat stroke was coming. Like my scalp was burning. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, we also went to Marion in 2013. I know you had said it, Tom. I kind of agree with you. I think it was a better venue to watch. Marion was a better venue to watch. The golfers.
Yeah, I don't think it's even debatable. I mean,
No.
Like Marion, you can stumble. We stumbled upon a couple tee boxes just walking the trails, and
Yeah.
boom, you're smack dab on a tee. Like there, you had to be strategic with every spot you were going to. There was no stumbling upon.
Yeah. So, but it was cool. It was cool. It was enjoyable. I liked it. Course was tough. The one thing about the course was like when you look in the end, was there really a skill set that you could like, I'm not trying to make excuses for our handicapping, which wasn't that good, but was there really like a skill set you could point to and say like this skill set is?
Well, I mean, two of the better putters finished.
That's true.
Well, Burns, I guess, kind of fell apart there at the end. But like, if you looked at Spawn, who was in the tops going in, and Burns, he was the best. Like,
yeah.
So Putton, which we mentioned, but Putton definitely played a role in it.
Yeah, I think for me, I would just say like you need to be not in the rough in your drive. So like if you drive the ball 325, then you need to just drive the ball 275 and make sure you're not in the rough. You know what I mean? Like, take a little off your shot and be accurate with it. I mean, that would be my advice, but nobody did it really. I mean, Spawn, I thought Spawn deserved the win in the end. I know he started the round with like five out of six bogeys, but in the end, his putting, like you said, his short game was really good, his putting and stuff. So he deserved the win. Scheffler missed 5 putts under 5 feet, and that's why he lost. If he hits those putts, he probably wins, right? He probably wins the tournament. So, um, yeah, I mean, my bets were not good. Tommy did recommend Spawn. What was it? Saturday.
Saturday morning. Yeah.
So
He was
I
like,
think
it was about 5.5, 6 to 1
that
at
was
that
a
point.
good push from you. So I got
It
something.
just looked like halfway through there. I mean, I honestly thought in a couple of these guys like Cam Young and McIntyre came out of nowhere, but it looked like it was Spawn or Burns after this. To me, after the second round,
Yeah,
Hovland was right there, which was a pick that I gave out pre-tournament. But you could see he just didn't have the putting that was ultimately going to he wasn't going to make that putt that he needed to make.
yeah,
Um, and it looked like Spawn and Burns were the only two that were going to be able to. Um, and at that point, Burns was like +2, might have been the favorite. He might have been like +250 or something.
yeah,
So where Spawn, and at one point, I mean, I think I looked, Spawn went up to like 12 to 1, obviously, when he was,
yeah,
having a terrible front nine.
yeah. And then I have to say, my favorite part of the trip was Friday when we got to see Smarty Jones. We visited him on the farm on the way home. Chalky, I don't know if you could put a picture of Smarty or something, maybe.
Yeah, that was gonna be my avatar this week. So
Perfect, perfect. But I thought that was tremendous. I mean, everybody I showed the pictures and the video to were just like, "Ah, that's really cool. That's awesome." I just thought it was awesome to see Smarty, and he looked good.
Yeah, Chalky, your impressions?
yeah, I mean, I think Jason mentioned some of the better players not doing well. Well, I made Bryson my top pick. He didn't make the cut. Rory made the cut by the skin of his teeth and actually played well Sunday, but was still far back. Um, and you know, I can't say I'm not disappointed that Burns wasn't able to hold on. I didn't have a lot of money on that, but at 80 to 1, that $5 bet I did put on would have been nice. But I mean, Burns really 8 holes did Burns in 15 through 18 on round 1 and 15 through 18 in round 4. He played those 8 holes 9 over par. And he would have been 10 over if he didn't birdie the one on the back towards the end on Sunday. So yeah, frustrating that he played well enough or that much better than everybody else for the other part, but you got to play the whole way. And I'm not the rules expert, but it seems like a lot of people think he should have gotten relief on 15 for that where that ball landed, and he ends up double bogeying that hole on the fourth day, the final day, and then goes kind of off the rails for the rest of that round. I don't know if the relief gives him a better chance, and if he pars that, maybe he ends up winning the tournament. Not a rules expert, but it seemed like everybody I was looking at on Twitter was like, that's not right. But yeah, Spawn deserved to win it. He birdied the last 2 holes. I mean, he was behind, or was he tied? I guess
He was tied going into
I
17,
was
but
like,
17
right.
was also the easiest hole,
Yeah.
like playing as the easiest hole. So you assumed
he birdied it like Hovland did not. Hovland played okay the last 2 holes. He parred them, I think, both right, but he made 2 birdies. And I don't think he makes that putt on 18 without Hovland going first, and he gets a read on the line for sure. But I felt pretty confident he would 2-putt that and still win the tournament. But it was a nice moment to see him hold that out. His wife didn't seem too thrilled, though. I don't know what's going on there, but nonetheless, it was an exciting finish. And I think, Tom, you saw a little bit on Sunday, especially with the weather, what you were looking for. I don't know if you said on the podcast or at the course, where it's like people just struggling on hole after hole and hitting bad shots. And you got a lot of that on Sunday when people couldn't make shots, especially after the rain delay and after the weather came in. So it was a great experience. PNC lived up to the hype for me. It's definitely one of the top ballparks in the league that I've been to. They really did it right there on the riverfront there with their layout. Yeah, so what's another 8 years before I go back to Oakmont. So maybe we'll feel like going back then by then. But when you look at like I think it was 94, they were showing Ernie Els one that, and just the amount of trees they had on the course at that time versus now. And I know they're saying they're trying to get it back to the original layout when there wasn't really trees, but it was just weird seeing it look like that and then compared to what they did since then. And makes the heat a little more worse to deal with when you see that. But all in all, it was a good trip. And Smarty, of course, was a thrill.
Yeah. You guys hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I actually had one of the things I had was the Burns, the kind of controversy over the Burns. With the water. I mean, it definitely looked like he probably should have got relief. It was kind of weird. They were giving they gave Adam Scott relief like every hole. It seemed like every shot he was getting relief. So it was kind of strange, but that's just in common. Like that's golf, man. Those guys though, they are so, and they're so pampered that the second they don't get like, okay, he didn't get relief. His game went to he fell apart. Like that's on him. Like, and his game was leaking already. There was a wedge that he pulled on a hole like previously in the weather, but like there was no excuse. Okay, you hit a bad shot, like man up and hit another good shot. Spawn had 5 bogeys in the front 9 and then wound up hitting good. Like that's not an excuse. And I was kind of glad to see that, and I was glad to see Hatton when he was struggling and he looks at his caddy and yells at his caddy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Bro,
I like
hit
to
a bad
see.
shot. I love watching that. I love watching that.
I like to see Burns try to play down the lakes. And see relief.
But I mean, it's like the second they don't get they don't go their way, they don't have like the mental fortitude anymore. It seems like, and maybe we're so used to watching like Tigers and stuff. But
the champions do. The champions do, like Scheffler. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the whole part.
But the guys like your Hattons, like your Burns, those guys
just let the game fall apart.
And I'm just as crazy as them on the course, so I can't talk, but it is what it is. I mean, you just gotta chill out sometimes.
And then the other thing, 2 more things, which took me by surprise, and we didn't really talk about it, and I don't know if you guys know, but when they were hitting in the fairway bunkers, how come nobody could reach they all had to like punch out of the fairway bunkers too, as if it was like, what was it the depth of the bunkers? They weren't able to like use a shorter eye. But which is because you watch so many tournaments, the guy gets in the fair, he still hits the ball 210 out of the fairway, but they weren't. They were like punching. I saw like Scott did it a whole bunch. He had to just punch out. So it was not only if you missed the fairway to the rough, if you were put in the bunker, you still kind of didn't have a shot. And I was surprised at that. I didn't know the reason, and I wasn't prepared for it.
I just think they're a place where their natural shots land, and I just think. I don't know how easy it is, but like you gotta take something off and just make sure get into the fairway. Just
the problem is though some of those holes play long, so it's not like you can't lay up because now your second shot is like another wood.
I hear you,
and the rough around the greens are just as bad. So I mean, it was not. I mean, it's hard. It played hard.
Yeah, I didn't read anything about the bunkers being crazy. Like,
well, some of them you could see like the lip was high, so I thought maybe they just weren't going to be pick it out.
I mean, I think just having watched it, I mean, we say it said, U.S. Open, you want to play par golf. So being conservative in the sense of, it's a long hole, but if you can't knock it out into the fairway and you're ending up in the rough or on the hill or something, you see some of the shots those guys were hitting, like if it was like on the side of the green where guys were, I was at Justin Thomas had a couple like really bad holes where he swung and the ball didn't move. Kind of like me when I'm out there playing a lot, except he actually made contact where I just missed. But I think it's more of like, just don't get yourself in trouble and leave yourself a clean shot for the next one, even if you're maybe not get to the green. So my take is it was just more of a philosophy on how to play the course as opposed to like an actual impediment with the bunker itself.
Yeah, that's a good point. The hard part was they were laying up, and then you're hitting like a wedge into the green, which on a normal course, you put a wedge, even if you put it 10, 50, you can make. I mean, unless you were next to the hole,
You
you're
roll.
70. You still had an impossible putt coming back.
Yeah.
So now you're definitely getting a bogey, and that was
Yeah.
like you just couldn't save par on those, and that
Yeah.
was a big part. And then lastly, Spawn. We're all talking about 17 where he puts, he has the eagle putt because his drive was good, and then 18. But he won that tournament with that 40-footer earlier in was it the 10 or 11? It was like early in the back nine.
Yeah.
Where he nailed a 40-footer to go from +2 to +1. And I can't remember. I think it was right after the rain delay. I'm pretty sure it was right after the rain delay. But that's what got him back into the tournament. He don't hit that putt, he's probably catching up and not going to get there.
So that was 12, I think.
So 12, yeah.
It was
And that's
12 or 14. I think it was 12 though.
I don't think it was 14. I think it was earlier than that. So yeah, it was just a huge putt that you didn't see many guys making putts like that. So you give him. It's not like he got lucky in the last two holes or turned out, but he started to turn the game around. And the break clearly looked like it helped him. The rain delay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Clearly helped him. All right, that's it. We'll come back to golf for the Open, which is in about 3 weeks or so. Which we'll hopefully have the crew back for. But that's it. Anything else on US Open before we kind of move on to the Phils?
Oh, I do want to say that I did cost us the parlay. With
the
Fleetwood.
The cup parlay, yeah.
I cost us the cup parlay, yeah.
Yeah, Fleetwood was not good.
Famous last words. We got to hit this, so I'm taking the seat back.
Yeah, it's over.
I
He was the
figured-
biggest, easiest.
And that was the last hole. That was the last. He pars that last hole. He makes
once
the
he
par.
missed the putt, then
Yeah,
even like he double bogeyed or whatever.
It's the worst.
He double bogeyed because he knew he was done once he missed.
There was no live
for-
coverage, so we're all watching the shot by shot, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" Because they had the shot thing wrong, and
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, he had a chance. I mean, he's just
that's
bad.
a shame. That's a shame.
All right, let's move on to the Phils, which we haven't really talked about too much with a lot that's been going on with other things. Phils, I think tonight they look like they can't hit. I didn't really watch much of it, but I don't think they scored yet. But they went on a mini run after dropping a whole bunch, and things were looking bleak. And now they went back on a mini run. They pulled within a game of first place. Could be for 2 by the end of tonight, but they're playing better. A couple of controversies with Topper and Castellanos and things like that, but overall, I mean, they kind of seem like the team we thought that they're going to probably make the playoffs, whether they win the division or a wild card, and then it's going to be what they do in October. Jason, where do we want to go with the Phils?
I think you could start with 2 guys who are carrying the offense right now, and that's Turner and Bone. Turner, who's actually up as I speak, he's just been real. This year, he's been what we were expecting to get when we signed him, I think. He turned on the power now. He's got 9 home runs. He's on track to hit 20 home runs. He's on track to hit 305, 310. I mean, that's what you want from Trey Turner. He's leading off. So really happy with Turner's play. And Bohm, I know we all killed Bohm, but Bohm is on fire. I mean, Bohm, pretty deep into the season was hitting 190, 200, something like that. He's now, before this game, I don't know what he's done tonight, but he was at 291 before the game started. I mean, he's just on fire right now. I mean, he's even hitting with some power and stuff. So, I don't want to get into the negatives yet, but there is one negative, one guy that concerns me, and I don't know if he's going to be able to turn it around. But pitching wise, Ranger's on a run now, like he was on a run last year before he got hit with that comebacker, which definitely did something because he was not the same after he got hit in the hand with that comebacker last year. But I mean, he's on point right now. I think Kirkring, he's one guy we all thought could event. He's got closer
Oh
stuff.
boy, and it looks like Schwarber just sent one.
Home run.
That's ahead of both of our television feeds.
Yeah, now I see it. Yep.
I'll get there in a second. Keep going.
Kirkring, Kirkring, we were killing him earlier in the year, but
There it is.
he has been really, he hasn't given up a run, and I'm probably going to jinx him tonight, but he hasn't given up a run.
Yeah, is he now going to be your closer? Or they continue. I know
He
last
wasn't
night they
last
did.
night. I don't
I
know.
know.
He should be.
I know.
I don't want to jump ahead, but the guy that concerns me now in the bullpen is Strom. Strom can't get guys out.
Strom's a problem.
To me, Strom, let's be honest here. Strom is not a late inning guy. Like, for me, Strom is like your 6th, maybe 7th inning pitcher. Like, he's never in his career been.
I wouldn't want him to ask past the 7th at this point. That's for sure.
I don't know if I want him past the 6th. We're not going to talk trades, but I think they legitimately need 2 relievers. I do not want to see Strom in late innings.
Well, part of it too is he's your high leverage lefty right now too, right? I mean, you bring Banks in if you have to, but
yeah, Banks is.
But I mean, he's your high leverage lefty, so forget about just the late innings. You don't have a lefty.
They need bullpen bad, and I know he's going to do something, but they need it bad. I'll leave it at that, and then maybe come back to me for the guy that's concerning to me.
Well, we all know who that is. Chalky.
I was going, but before that home run, I was going to say if they trade for a reliever, I kind of like this guy Bender on the Marlins because he's got real movement on his ball, but his ERA is still not bad. I mean, the one thing in the lineup Jason didn't really talk about. So my concern is Harper for one because he's the second IL stint, but the great Stott experiment leading off is now done, and he's whereas Kirkring since I think May 1st has been lights out. Stott is not giving you much at all. I think he got thrown out tonight trying to steal or pick off or whatever.
He's batting like 188 since May 1st. He's 201 of 205 hitters or something.
And I have a theory on that, and you could come back to me on it.
I think, we're not talking trade stuff yet. I think to get ahead when we get there, I think there has to be serious consideration of adding a bat, even if that means Harper goes back to the outfield, because if Stott's not going to give anything, you're not going to have anything out of Marsh. There's not a center fielder I think you can trade for that's going to give you that. So there's a couple guys at the corners that might be available, and that means either moving Bohm to first and Harper to the outfield or something along those lines. But that's for 2 weeks from now. The bullpen still worries me because Strom, you're now down a guy that you thought maybe you could rely on in certain situations. But the starting pitching has been, better than advertised. Nola is still out there, but Abel sort of got back on track. Luzardo didn't have a great start the other night, but he seems to have corrected some of the tipping that he did, where he got lit up for those 2 games. And I think you're playing a team like the Marlins, where he comes from. If he was going to give away anything, that would be the team you think would be able to pick up on it. So the fact that, it wasn't, he had 2 good starts. But what's this like now? Like, was it 7 or 9 straight quality starts for Ranger, I think, at this point?
It's been like every once except this first one, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we were talking about, is he a bullpen guy for like the playoffs? Maybe not now, but you would still be looking at 3 lefties if you don't use Nola. But I don't know. Maybe if everybody else is still pitching well, he does go to the bullpen as your high leverage left-hander. It's a good position to be in, I guess, to try and figure that out. But man, the bullpen, even if they didn't add a bat, the bullpen to me is the number one issue that has to kind of get rectified. So, we'll see where they end up going with that. I thought Romano would be getting more. Romano's not getting used as much as I thought he would. I know he had like 1 or 2 bad outings, so I don't know if they've lost confidence in him again or they're playing matchups or whatever. But, Kirkring, that was his first big league save the other night. So I guess they're gonna.
I mean, they haven't. I mean, honestly, since when they're winning, they haven't needed like high leverage bullpen play, like all that much. The Kirkring save, but they were up. They had some leads. They were up like 6 runs in at least 2 of the games at the end. They were up more than that in a 10-run game. So like they've been not needing those high leverage,
Yeah.
relievers for a little bit. Obviously the Kirkring save, and then last night it was a 3-run lead. It turned into a little bit of diciness with Strahm, but and now they got Sanchez going through the 8th, so they should be able to roll right into Kirkring tonight if
that's the hope. Maybe your head.
Yeah, it's hard not to, because a lot of what we're doing here is like you're at the point where trade talk is going to dominate like more. I mean, the team is what it is, so it's how do you improve the team. I mean, you guys keep saying Ranger, but Ranger, I mean, he could get traded too. It's not out of the question that he's not a guy that's gone
because of his contract situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to sign him, right? It doesn't.
You wouldn't think.
So, yeah. And what do you think about the Castellanos situation where, obviously he got pulled for defense, said something, he sat, and then, didn't get pulled last night for defense, made a play in the end. And anything there? Yeah.
I mean, I think it is what it is. Like, if he disrespected Thompson, Thompson's got to stand up for himself. Castellanos has a tendency to be cocky. So I could see where he probably got a little mouthy, and Thompson was just like, you know what? I'm the boss here, and you got to do shit like that. You got to, you got to.
Yeah, everybody killed Topper for not really being involved with that firm.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player's manager, right? He's not Billy Martin,
right?
So I mean, I trust that Castellanos said something. Like, I don't think he would just bench a guy to make a point if the guy did nothing wrong and come out and say he said something that got him aggravated. So I imagine Castellanos had to say something pretty severe to rub him the wrong way. But I was kind of what's his name? Kepler lost the ball in the lights late in the game or whatever, and that was a run. But I wasn't happy that was a situation that occurred, but I was happy to see Topper willing to make that kind of statement to say, like, you can't just come back and do whatever. Like, you'll sit for a game. And, you talk about offense, Castellanos is hitting 275 or whatever. So you don't want to take that bat out of the lineup if you don't have to. But realistically, you just send a message to the rest of the team. It's like, I'm your guy, but you can't disrespect me. So I was fine with it, to be honest, even though we don't know exactly what was said. I'll trust his judgment on that.
Yeah, Jason, you alluded to a guy that, and then you mentioned Stott. I don't know if it was Stott, but
it is Stott. I'm concerned with Stott because I think I've said it on this podcast before. I do not like his swing. He's got an uppercut swing, and his issue now is he's flying out all the time. I mean, he's not a power hitter. Like, a guy like that should have a level swing, and I don't know if you're ever going to be able to change that swing. So
it wasn't that when he first came up, right? That's the part that's not.
I don't recall if that's always been his swing. I kind of think it has. I don't think his swing is.
So the pitchers just found his weaknesses, the holes where.
I just think, like, you could swing like that in AAA and AA, and you could,
No, but he came up and was effective hitting the ball at first. The first.
Yeah, I mean, he had one good year. Last year, he wasn't good.
No. But what I'm saying is, the first year he looked like. I mean, even on this podcast,
people bring this hitting coach in. 23.
He's been around long. I think
he came in with Girardi. I think.
Yeah, long.
Has he been here? Okay, I thought he came in the same year Turner came.
So. Nah, he came with Girardi.
Yeah, I mean, it like you said, they find weaknesses, in guys. So, rookie year, a guy might have a good year, and then they find a weakness on him. I just think that swing, I just don't. For me, I think that's always going to be an issue.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that come up, look good, and just you have high expectations, and they don't amount to.
And let's be honest here. When Miller's ready, somebody's got to go. Who's it going to be? I think it's clearly Stott.
I mean, I was in favor of trying to move him in the offseason, so I thought he'd be a more valuable trade chip than, say, Bohm, and his value has not increased, certainly.
No.
So, what do you have? Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be Bohm or Stott that goes if Miller comes up. Now, I guess Bohm's going to have to be a free agent sooner than Stott, I suppose. I guess because he's got more time in the big leagues. So maybe by default, Miller's got to take Bohm's spot if they let Bohm walk in free agency. But, one of those two guys, I mean, his glove is still there, but we were talking about, well, is he going to go back to shortstop to let Turner play second? But, somebody's got to make way for Miller eventually.
I mean, the problem now you're running into is you got 3 9-hole hitters. I mean, maybe more between like the combination of Rojas and Marsh. And now Marsh has been playing better, but he is what he is. JT, for what he is nowadays, I mean, he's a bottom of the order guy. Now Stott's clearly a bottom of the order guy. It's like you have a lot of bottom of the order hitters now. It's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk trade, I mean, obviously center field must be fixed. We won't get into that now, but it must be fixed, and I think it must be fixed for the second half of the year. It's that much of a problem. Not only going forward, but yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, JT's probably a 7th-hole guy, and Stott's probably an 8-hole guy at this point.
Right, for sure.
Right. I mean, so, yeah. I mean, I'm concerned with Stott.
And then Jimmy alluded to Harper. Kind of haven't really heard much about it since.
I heard tonight they said that he's basically starting to throw now again. It sounds like he's a couple weeks away.
Yeah, well, he was throwing last Friday. I think he started to throw when we came back.
But he said, I thought they said he was going to start taking batting practice this weekend, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key, right? Is the batting?
I don't think you see him until at least 4th of July, and then at that point they might just say, "Come back after the All-Star break."
It's not ideal there.
No,
could be. I mean, they got big series. Yeah, obviously, he's not going to play this series against the Mets coming up.
No,
they got the Padres a couple times, tough teams. So they may be forced into getting him in the lineup against some of the tougher competition. But
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to let the schedule dictate.
Yeah,
his coming in. I think they're going to.
I don't know if he seems like he's ready. I don't think they're going to say, "Well, we'll let you sit another week." I think they'll probably try to get him some reps before the All-Star break, assuming he's okay. I don't
see him a 4th of July series maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to rely on their starting pitching. I mean, pretty much is what it looks like it's going to come down to.
Yeah,
for starters, which, I mean, you figure like Wheeler's going to give you a great start every time. Yeah, I mean, it's looking like Ranger and Sanchez are starting to pull it together every time. Maybe Luzardo's a little here and there, but I mean, yeah, you're getting 3, 4 out of 5 guys that are probably going to give you very quality starts every single time they take the ball. So, regardless, like look at tonight, you didn't hit. You scored 2 runs late, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and you got a 2-1 lead because Sanchez dominated. Only let up a run. So now you're in great shape to win this baseball game that you probably had no business winning.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what it's going to have to be. Yeah. We'll get more into it next week. I think the trade talk's going to dominate kind of the talk as the ball's hit.
I think next week too we could get into like who's good value, for second half bet.
Yeah.
Somebody just hit a bomb.
Otto. Often. Yeah. We'll go around the league too. I mean, it's not just. I mean, it's actually a show. It would be good for Meeker to maybe get on, but
I think he's a little afraid because the trivia. Every time he hears trivia, I think he kind of hides and stuff. So I think he's a little afraid right now. But we'll see. Maybe he could come back on.
But anything else on the Phillies? We'll make the show short one tonight. If not, anything else before we wrap it up? Any last trip talk? U.S. Open.
It's a smooth drive.
Yeah, it's a very easy drive. Very, very easy drive.
Wasn't a bad drive. Like I said, we escaped without your. I thought your car a couple times. I was expecting to come out and see your car on cinder block.
No, but I will say, parking under that tree, my car was filled. It was covered in sap.
Yeah, I did.
I had to go to. I didn't realize until I got back. Until I got
Yeah.
home, I had to go to the car wash.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's better than the
sap guy.
better than the alternative.
At least he was there.
Yeah,
And the one thing is too, if we got to know some of the locals because they were the same ones that would come back and forth every day.
Yeah.
yeah.
They would
Who was the guy they kept looking for? At
Randy.
Jason.
Randy.
Oh, Randy.
Randy.
Yeah, Randy. The call for Randy woke me up a couple of
So
times.
if anybody knows Randy on East Ohio Street, please let
They were looking
let
for
them know they're
Randy.
looking for him.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 161 of Broad Street. Also, have a great night.